Thank you, Carrie. And thank you, Gurpreet. Well, as I arrived at the meeting this morning and went over to where Gurpreet was sitting and tapped him gently on the shoulder, well, what speech are you giving, and do you have a manual for me? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure exactly what Gurpreet said, but that was the general feel I got from her, the general impression I got from her. So she was pulling it together as, excuse me, she was pulling it together as I was waiting with enthusiasm what she had to say. Well, she surprised me. She came up and gave a very well organized, very well delivered speech. You never would have known she was pulling it together on the fly, but perhaps that's what happens when we're so very intricately involved in a process, I guess over the past month or so, that you were getting your workspace ordered and ready. It just kind of flowed out of you without having to have worked up a written speech with opening, body, and conclusion, because you already had an opening, body, and conclusion through the process of having put your workspace together. I like the way you started the speech. You pulled us in by asking us who among you are in the process of putting together a project or something of that sort. And you had each of us who raised their hands to tell briefly what we did. So you engaged us in what you were doing in that way. You went ahead beyond that and described your search for a workspace, a studio, and the process that with the city and with business licenses and all and the like, getting that put together. And then you described the actual process of doing it, and the flooring and the painting and working it out, the details with your neighbor, the bank. And it was fascinating to hear your story. It was not an earth-shattering sort of story like life and death sort of thing that Jim talked about, but it was something that we all, at some point in our lives, deal with. And you dealt with it, you described it very clearly and in an engaging way. You did not wed yourself to the lectern despite not having a speech to look at and read. You got free of it and walked out in front and spoke with us directly. It was a very good speech, excellent for considering the amount of preparation.